we are very excited to have one of the most successful coaches in college soccer history, University of Maryland's Sasho Cirovski. Sasho, great to see you first and foremost. How are you doing? You doing well?
I'm doing great. Team's having a great year. It's beautiful weather outside. Good to be with you guys chatting about college soccer.
Okay, good. And we're glad that you're here. You clearly heard our show earlier after U.S. Soccer announced that they want to figure out a way to propose some changes to how college soccer is set up. Yeah. Something that you've been championing probably since, the last 20 plus years? Because you had a quote out there that said, hey, listen, right now I want a system that benefits all 5,000 kids that are playing soccer in this country at the collegiate level, not just the 50 that are going to go pro. And I really loved how holistic that was. And
yeah,
where did that come from? What did you see in the college game that you felt like needed to have a change? Let's start there.
Well, Jimmy, I came from my first year in college at UWM back in the 80s, coming from Canada, and I was shocked how compressed the college season was. And I think all of us from when you guys played all understood that the playing and practice season in college soccer is archaic. We knew this in the 80s and 90s and 2000s. And, I was one of those guys that always wanted to make the game better. I preached to my players, hey, you're part of something bigger than yourself. Leave Maryland better, leave college soccer better because of your place in it. So, in early 2000s, I was nominated to be the chair of Division I coaches. And quickly we started working on process to have better player development with different ideas. In 2002, a group led by Brett Simon at Stanford, myself and Mark Burson and a bunch of coaches put together the initial framework of an extended playing season, a split season, and it got quickly shot down like it was the dumbest idea in the history of the world. It was like, so then, we kept trying to make college soccer significant in different ways with ideas. And, in 2014, I got to a point where I was really fed up. We kept playing college cups in terrible weather with very few people coming. There was times that the ground was so frozen you couldn't even, you couldn't even jump for a head ball. And we just got stuck in this thing. And in college sports, you're defined by the success of your national championships. And, we're at a time frame where it's probably the worst time of the year. I mean, college football, college pro football, college basketball, and everybody's playing. And we get lost. We could barely get our semis and finals on TV. And the product kept getting better, but there was something wrong. So, we started, I started the push for the extended playing season. We call it the academic year model back in 2014. We eventually changed the name to the 21st century model because as we're doing this, we realized that the NCAA has done nothing in the 21st century to update any of its playing and practice models for all sports. So we thought it was a good name to kind of say, hey, let's move college sports into the 21st century. And it was a long process. Eventually we got the Big Ten and the ACC and the Pac-12 because in 2014, there was a little bit more of a weighted vote that the NCAA was going to do. So the power conferences would have a little more votes in it. We got to a good place, Jimmy. I mean, we got to a place where, proposal was called 2019-90 because we put it in 2019. And in February of 2020, it was going to move on to the Division I Council finally after unbelievable battles and so many people trying to shoot it down. And I could write a book on it. So it's February 2020. We're excited about it. And COVID hits. COVID hits. So then the world shuts down. So then after COVID, then a year later, the transfer portal comes into play. And then a year later, conference realignment comes into play where the Pac-12 breaks up and goes to Big Ten, ACC schools, a whole bunch of stuff. And then you have the Alston case, which is where a player sued so that student athletes could have some name, image, and likeness rights. They could get some scholarship beyond their full scholarship, et cetera. So that happens. All of these things are happening. There's no place for them to look at a soccer proposal because there was also changes. There was a new president came in, Charlie Baker, in 2023. So college sports changed so much since COVID in the last 5 years that we sort of got lost in the shuffle a little bit. And then came a real threat when the House settlement and the rev share became part of. Now schools were going to commit $20.5 million to pay mostly football, basketball players, a couple of women's sports, and maybe select other sports. And then became a real threat to us. Like, where the hell is men's Olympic sports going to go? Because we weren't protected. Women's sports protected by Title IX. And where are we going to go? so we and all of a sudden our proposal sunsetted because it was out there hanging in the dark NCAA world, and it sunsetted. So then we had to find a different way to bring this across the table. And I remember I was in San Diego at an ECNL event, and I got the word in June of 2023 that that this thing was pretty much dead. And at that point, I remembered something fondly because Jeremy Gunn of Stanford was very much involved in the process, was Carlos Samano, especially from UNC, who's our current chair. And I'm driving on I-5 angry, like ready to just kill somebody, going back to my hotel room. So I got JT Batson's number, and I called JT. And JT reminded me very quickly that when we put the first proposal in 2003 together, he was an intern or manager for Brett Simon at Stanford.
Oh, wow.
He was, I actually helped you guys write this thing. He goes, oh, yeah, listen. He goes, listen, man, he goes, I want to help college soccer. I see what's happening. He says, we're in. We want to lean in. We want to help. And I'm like, I mean, you could just imagine from frustration to
hope.
To hope. Thank you. That's exactly the right word. And also something unprecedented. For 15 to 20 years from my days in the ACC, we've had guys like Sunil want to help, Dan Flynn. We've had Kevin Payne, was given instructions by U.S. Soccer to help us. But maybe U.S. Soccer didn't have at that point the financial resources, maybe even the political influences, because they're still going through a little bit of a rough patch at the time. But the other thing is the NCAA was pushing professional teams away, was pushing national governing bodies away. But in this 5 years of kind of crazy change, it's changed now. They're welcoming NGBs. They're welcoming relations with professional teams, because obviously now we're able to pay players. We're able to have agents, or basically players can have agents. So the whole thing has changed almost upside down. And now the opportunity is there for U.S. Soccer to play a big role in this new structure. In fact, they're leading the way as the first national governing body to lean into Olympic sport and say, hey, we want to make college soccer part of our ecosystem. We recognize how important it is, because all you guys went to college, and you look at all the coaches and the administrators in the professional game, in the youth game, and what if college soccer kind of went away? Like, that would be devastating. And JT really was kind of like, it just, almost brought tears to my eyes. It was like, hey, we're going to help. So we engaged in many, many conversations and doing a lot of different things. And even as we were having these conversations, there was no clear governance path with how things are going to go. I'll give you an example. Men's basketball, football, and women's basketball have sport oversight committees, and those sport oversight committees have coaches and administrators that provide legislation for their sport. No other sport had that. As of this August is the first time there is a men's soccer oversight committee in the history of the game. So now we have some coaches and administrators that can lean in, look at U.S. Soccer's proposal, and find a way to progress the game forward for the first time. We almost had this. We almost had this in 2021. There was a transformational committee that NCAA was doing, and we almost got there. But then when the new president came in, that got shut down. So we've been playing a whole game of whack-a-mole. Like you go here, you're ready, and it's like it goes here, it goes here. It's like, and then you got to keep adjust. It's been look. At some point, I'll write a book on this. It'll probably be a pretty good book. But that's the short story of the involvement of college athletics, and now the welcoming nature of U.S. Soccer coming in and helping guide where we go next.
Well, damn, it's funny how the dots get connected in this sport all the time, right? And just one phone call on it from a pissed off Sasho on I-5 in California, like changed the pathway a little bit. Hopefully this gets done by the 22nd century, right? Because it seems like it's taking forever. But so you find out that this new proposal is coming out for you from U.S. Soccer. You've been doing this for a long time behind the scenes with a bunch of really, I'll call them dedicated college coaches, right? What's your first reaction? And did you guys have any input to what U.S. Soccer was doing? Did U.S. Soccer steal sort of what was in the 21st century model? JT Batson clearly knew a little bit about it, but maybe didn't know all the details. Like, how does that all dovetail and fit together?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of synchronicity that happened, and then some maybe outside thinking as well. So I think one of the things we realized, unfortunately, is that coach-driven proposals don't get too far. Although I think they're having more weight, et cetera. And so I think what happened was, and by the way, Tony, the U.S. Soccer is recommendations. That is not a proposal. They don't have the authority to make a proposal. The proposal will come from this men's soccer oversight committee, which is fully functioning now, and they are in communication with the next gen committee heads, Dan Helfrich, Emily Kosler, and they have heard. And this next gen committee, yes, we helped put some people in the right places. As an example, my president, Daryl Pines, Donovan Pines' dad, is on the next gen committee because he's one of the few presidents of an NCAA school that has a son that's gone through the process of win a national championship, playing professionally, all of that stuff. So he's a unique person that can add a lot of weight and credibility. He's also on the National Division I board of directors. So this group of people that U.S. Soccer put together was very calculated. It was very smart, and they were able to hear from not only power conference schools, but mid-majors. We have agents on there. We have former players. It's a really well put together group. And I think they did a great job of sitting down and putting together a proposal. And the proposal, I think, has a lot in it. If you look at it, I mean, you guys probably looked at it and go, there's a lot here. And I would say that all of the ideas are good. I think the challenge is going to be it's going to be almost impossible to get all of those done in the first year. And what I'm interested in is I don't want the process to slow down. We have to show some progress. And one of the things that I believe is very important is we want to get the bounce of the 2026 World Cup. So right now, the goal, I think, and what I hope this committee gets to is, this idea of, what we've been fighting forever was a decompressed season, split season, and a spring championship. And I think some of the ideas here with regionalization and tiering and other some of the amateurism rules, I think those things are all, some of them will be worked out, and some of them might take maybe a phase 2 or phase 3 approach, because it's a lot. Because you're talking about with regionalization and tiering, and look, we all agree regionalization is important because we have to have some cost savings and make ourselves sustainable for the long run. That's for sure. There's some of that going on naturally right now with our scheduling, but a fresh approach to looking at regionalization is important. But we have to make sure we understand what are the unintended consequences of regionalization and tiering, because, I mean, all three of you guys played in conferences, Big Ten, ACC, Pac-12 obviously is a part of those two now.
You're going to run it back a little, rekindling.
Yeah. But my point is that when you're taking people out of their conferences and you put them into regions, there could be some unintended consequences of losing the legacy and the value of conference play. So I think those things will take some time. It's almost like, we want to, I've got $3, I got a beautiful house, but my first house was a townhome. My second house was a little bit bigger. My third house was a little bit bigger, so like, I think, we want to be pragmatic. What's the most important thing, right now? And if there's a way that we can get all of it done at one time, then obviously, have our cake and eat it too will be amazing. But we just have to be smart about how aligned we are moving forward in what the most important thing is. If I asked you guys, what do you guys think the most important thing is for college soccer?
Yeah,
more games, games,
schedule,
longer period of time,
longer
scheduling.
Fall and spring.
I think the whole reason for this reintroduction of what, or restructuring of what college soccer should look like, I think comes from development. And I was curious, Sasho, how has recruiting changed for you from 93 when you walked into that Maryland dressing room to, the 2000s when Mo, myself, and Omar Gonzalez and AJ Delgarza are coming through to what it is now? Because I'm coaching youth soccer. I have twin boys who are 9. Yeah. You got MLS Next, you got ECNL, you got MLS Next 2, you got NAL, you got MPL, you got regional ECNL, AYSO. I'm confused at how fractured and segmented youth soccer is in this country. So how do you go about finding players, and where are those players coming from? The top U.S. American players who are
Yeah.
being developed in club soccer.
Well, I'll speak to you as the Maryland soccer coach a little bit. So we had a 2005 championship reunion team. We had 2 internationals on the team. Average age was 20.5 maybe. My team this year, I've got, I think, 13 internationals, 9 of them start, and the average age is 22 and a half.
Oh my God.
So before, it used to be if you wanted to transfer, you had to get permission from your coach, and it was a little bit challenging. Now, if you want to transfer, you just send an email to your compliance guy, say, I'm going to the portal, I'm transferring. So the transfer portal, although you could transfer 1 time, now you can transfer 3 times if you want.
Does this help the game? For me, it hurt the game. But
yeah, I think different things. One of the reasons I have a lot of internationals is because the top American kids, the kids I used to get, like Moadou and the likes of you, Charlie, a lot of times there'll be so much pressure on those players now to never go to college because of the compressed season and because of the pressure from MLS teams saying, look, you're going to get behind if you go to college, which I don't agree with. I understand because of the season, but I think what people have missed is still, in spite of the season, there's still a lot of development happening in college, a lot of development, and not everywhere. You know, I mean, look, you go away from home, you live in, you have to grow up, you have to learn about yourself, you learn about your belief system. You also have the opportunity to develop. Your facilities are here; they're outside your dorm room. You know, if you want to be a great player, you can go get there. I can't think of too many players that went to college that got worse by going to college. But I can think of a lot of players that never went to college that never made it because they got lost in the shuffle in the numbers game. So I think you know, it's changed a lot. A lot of times, a lot of my international players I had to pick up in June and July because kids would call me and say, "Hey, I'm signing with the Columbus Crew. I'm signing with DC United. I'm signing with LA." You know, whoever, because you know I have them committed, signed for 18 months, and they're telling me they're not coming. You know. I mean, gosh, you know, I got Kellen Acosta, Edwin Cirillo, Justin Heck, George Campbell. I mean, I can go down the line. You know, recently Owen Prestis, and you know, so we have to react. And when you react that late, the best place to go is international. So some of this is just a matter of trying to stay successful and do whatever it takes to kind of continue on.
So Sasho, really quick on that, just because you're right in the moment of it. Do you feel like if we go to a schedule that is more consistent with a season long, you know, you have a fall and a spring, that you'll get more American players to want to stay, and that way the MLS, you know, or the academies can't say it's a compressed season, don't go there, you know, you're not going to develop? Do you think that helps your argument?
I absolutely do. And I've heard from MLS head coaches and academy directors that, hey, if you guys go to this, you know, I think, you know, I mean, I'm not sure if MLS Next Pro in 3 or 4 years will even be around if we actually go to this, because I think we can do the job for a lot of these players. I mean, MLS is either going to sign their top kids to a first team contract or let their other kids go to the top schools and develop. I think that the season has been the big thing that's held back a lot of MLS teams from having their players go to college. So yeah, I think right now, you know, I think last year it was over 100 players that were under 19 that didn't go to US schools. And 10 years ago, it was like 18. And that's because MLS Next Pro became an opportunity for them. So I absolutely do think. I also think that we'll become a destination for top players around the world, you know, because this phenomenon of 18, 17-year-old kids signing pro deals and then never getting on the field isn't just happening in the U.S. It's happening all over the world. I mean, we've got players in our team that were in the Bayern Munich, Leverkusen system, you know. The Dortmund system, you know, captain of under 19 Dortmund is with us right now because, you know, it's top players get lost, and this is an incredible opportunity for them. So I think there's a chance. I've always said this. I really believe we could potentially become one of the best development under 23 leagues in the world, where we're getting players from everywhere once we get our playing and practice season, you know, done right. And also the timing is great because I'm hopeful that MLS in 27-28 goes into a fall to spring championship. So
everything's mirrored.
So this could align so well right now. And if we can get the bump from the World Cup, you know, the excitement of the World Cup. Yeah, we're cooking with gas. We're cooking with gas, my friend.
Sasho knows.
Are you still going on scouting trips? Like, are you still actively like scouting youth, you know, playing tournaments? Like,
Yeah, look, the thing you got to learn as a coach, the first thing you know is you're only as good as your players. So yeah, we're spending a lot of time. We're
Josh don't
going
stop,
everywhere.
Charlie. He don't sit around, man. You know him.
No.
He's not sitting around.
What's your tournament of choice? If you had to say, we're comparing to be like, hey, there's Sasho. He's scouting.
Yeah. I mean, look, the MLS events is our primary play still. The GA Cup, the Flex tournament in December. Hopefully, we're playing and we can't go to that. And then the spring tournament, I think that's going to change now. It used to be the June event, but we go there. But once we identify a player, then we go back and watch them, clearly in a 90-minute plus game. We take a look at how what they do in the warm up, how they handle adversity in the game, how do they handle good moments, bad moments, because we really want to make sure we see the character in action in there. We do a lot of reference checking, we do a lot of video stuff. So we don't recruit that many players, but our percentage of players once we offer a kid is pretty darn high. Very few kids turn us down. So yeah,
we gotta make that. What's that out in San Diego? That Surf Cup. You got to go to San Diego just because it's San Diego, right?
Well, I did. That's where I was at the Surf Cup when I ended up. Oh no, I'm sorry. That was in ECL. Listen, my daughter lives out there, so anytime I go to San Diego, I'm going to San Diego.
One last one here. What? Paint a picture of what you think college, not what you want, what you think college soccer will look like in 5 years.
Well, I would love to see us as the best under 23 league in the world, a destination for any top, 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old kid that maybe isn't ready for first team high-level professional soccer. I would like to see some form of regionalization in place, and I think some of this idea of tiering U.S. Soccer's proposed. I think there's some real good merit there, but I think that process will take a couple of years so that we can get total buy-in. It's just like a state trying to redistrict everything, for good reasons. We have to be very thoughtful and transparent and figure all the parameters for all those things. So yeah, I would love to see a spring championship. We're trying to put it right after March Madness. I'd love to see some sort of May Mayhem or whatever the heck we call it for college soccer, or maybe even a college World Cup rather than just College Cup. Some form of a big event that rivals what we're seeing now in the College Baseball World Series and March Madness. And I think there's a window, and U.S. Soccer deserves credit for this, that they found, because I've been speaking to commercial partners from mid-April to mid-May, which would be ideal. So yeah, I want this to be a big deal, and I want it to be a place where young men want to go to, and professional teams want them to go there so that they can then pick, so they come ready to go for them.
Sasho Cirovski from University of Maryland. We love it. Thank you so much for your time. Incredible insights, and we hope that this gets realized in the next 5 years. Good luck the rest of the season, and long may you stay undefeated. Sasho Cirovski, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Take care.
You're still here? Yes! I absolutely love that. Listen, while I have your attention, if you want more average to good soccer content, this is the channel for you. Go check out our other videos. Go check out our playlists. And if you're really liking what you're seeing, I don't know how you couldn't, hit like, hit subscribe, of course, and then turn on your notifications so that you do not miss anything that we drop or when we go live. We'd really appreciate that. We'll see you next time.